A boy throws a ball at a target. At the instant when the ball leaves the boy's hands at the point A, the ball is 2 meters above horizontal ground and is moving with speed u at an angle alpha above the horizontal. In subsequent motion, the highest point reached by the ball is 3 meters above the ground. The target is modeled as being the point T, as shown in figure 4. The ball is modeled as a particle moving under gravity. Using the model, show that u squared is equal to 2g over sine squared alpha. So, firstly, the fact that they've got a sign here in their show that tells me I should maybe look at the what component of velocity. Remember with Suvat, there's horizontal and vertical component. What component is this leading me to look at? Do you guys think? Exactly, the vertical one, right? Now, what I do know is that at the maximum height, the velocity is equal to what, guys? It's equal to zero, isn't it? Yeah, well done, Keishan. So what I want to do is, well, I can model that because I will have an expression for, let me move this down here. I have an expression for you. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to just do vertical component, right? So your initial velocity, remember, we've got this angle here like that. Remember, this is u sine alpha, that's u cos alpha, right? In terms of your components of velocity. So your initial vertical component is going to be u sine alpha. I call it ui sine alpha. The vertical, sorry, not the vertical, the final velocity, we're modeling it at the maximum height is going to be zero. Acceleration due to gravity, I'm modeling it up was going to be minus g. And s, our displacement is going to be one because we're modeling it from 2 meters above. Yeah. 2 to 3 is one. So s is going to equal one. Everybody happy with that? Yeah. Now ask yourself what Seabat formula connects all of these variables together? U, V, A, and S. V squared is equal to U squared plus 2AS. So we plug everything into there. So it's going to be zero squared, which is just zero. That's U squared is going to be U squared sine squared alpha, like that. If I square that, plus two lots of A, which is minus G, and then S is one. So I get that there. Zero is going to equal U squared sine squared alpha. That's going to be minus 2g. That means that 2g is going to equal u squared sine squared alpha. And then that means u squared, so I forgot the squared here, u squared divided that by just sine squared alpha is going to be 2g over sine squared alpha, like that, is equal to u squared. And that's exactly what they got. And that's it. Anybody get that correct? Yeah. And if you didn't get that correct, does that make sense now? You guys happy with that? Yeah, well done. Good stuff. Perfect. Now this way it gets very tricky. It says the point T is at a horizontal distance of 20 meters from A and is at a height of 0.75 above the ground. The ball reaches T without hitting the ground, find the size of the angle alpha. So there's a lot going on here. I'm gonna get this diagram again. Let me just move this out of the way. Let me rub this up and then screenshot this thing so that we can get 1 second, guys. Okay, so got this here. And then they've told us at a specific point. Yeah. So I like to do this. I kind of like think of them as like coordinates, even though they're not really. But yeah. So essentially, the point T is at a horizontal distance, 20 meters. Yeah. So we're modeling at point T. So we know a couple of things. We know that the horizontal distance there, that's 20 meters, right? And I also know that it's actually going to be 0.57 meters above the ground, like that. That's what they've told us at this point there. We need to find the size of angle alpha. So with these questions, especially these long, chunky projectile questions, right? It's literally about doing both components, using algebra to plug one into the other. So for example, right, remember what I always do with projectiles, right? Horizontally, remember we know that the distance is equal to the speed times the time, like that. Now the distance, if we're modeling it at t, let me write at t here, is going to be a 20. Can somebody tell me what the speed would be? Fantastic, Biana. U cos alpha. Remember, the horizontal component of velocity is constant, u cos alpha, right? And then multiplied by the time. We don't know anything about the time, so I'm going to call it t. Yeah, that is horizontally. Now, vertically, right? I want to model that distance, that point t. Now, remember, what do we know? Vertically, the initial velocity, right? We know was u sine alpha, like that. The acceleration due to gravity is going to be minus g, right? Because we're modeling upwards. T, we don't know. S is going to be, well, it's 0.75 above the ground, right? But what is that in relation to A? It's going to be 1.25 meters below it. Do you guys agree? So S is going to be minus 1.25. Everybody happy with that? Yeah. And what you want to do with these questions here is create two equations and plug one into the other. So what formula connects U, A, T, and S together? That's S is equal to UT plus a half AT squared. So I'm going to plug everything I know. It's going to be minus 1.25 is going to equal U, which is U sine alpha. That's U, T times, sorry, not times, plus one half, and then this is minus G, isn't it? And then it's going to be T squared, like that. Yeah. Now the question is asking us to figure out what the alpha is, the angle, right? We have to solve an equation. We've got a couple of variables here. What you want to do is eliminate a variable. What variable would I want to eliminate? I've got two equations. I've got equation one, I've got equation two. Yeah. What variable do I want to eliminate? Exactly all of us tell me. You want to eliminate t because you want alpha. How can we eliminate that variable t? Which equation can I use to eliminate it out of equation one and two? Exactly one, right? Because we can rewrite the time. We can find an expression for the time. It's just going to be 20 over u cos alpha. And then that way I can sub one into two. Yeah. And it's the same thing with these questions. You get an expression for the time from the distance version, the horizontal distance, and then you plug that time into the vertical displacement formula, and then you just rearrange. Yeah. So I'll put that in there. Um that would be um that would be minus 1.25 is going to equal u sine alpha multiplied by t, which is going to be 20 over u cos alpha, like that, plus a half, and then minus g, and then 20 over u cos alpha all squared. Everybody happy with that so far? Before I continue, all good? Yeah, good stuff. Brilliant. So now let's tidy everything up then. So I've got minus 1.25. I've got a u here and I've got a u there. One's times and one's dividing, they're gonna cancel. So I'm gonna cancel that and cancel that. Sine over cos. What can I do with that, guys? Sine alpha timesing, a cos alpha dividing. What can I do? Fantastic. And also tell me sine over cos is tan. That becomes a tan alpha. So it actually becomes 20 tan alpha here, like that. And then this one is going to be plus a half. Let me just get rid of that plus and put the minus. Minus a half g. If I square that, that's going to be 400 over u squared cos squared alpha, like that. You guys agree? Yeah. And I just seen your message. Well done, Biana. Now, what can I do? Well, this is a problem because I've still got a U there. I don't want a U. But remember with these questions, they're all sequential, right? We actually figured out what U squared was in part A. Remember, it said show that U squared is 2G sine squared alpha. So I can actually use this here and plug it into my expression. Yeah. So I'm going to do that, right? And plug it in. So if I plug that in like that, let me just work with that expression there and then just tidy it up and then put it back in later. So 400, it's going to be 400 over u squared, which is that there, 2g over sine squared alpha, right? Multiplied by cos squared alpha, like that. And then from there, what can I do? Let me just be very, very careful here. That's going to be 400 over um 2g cos squared alpha over sine squared alpha, like that, isn't it? On the denominator. And then what am I doing? I'm going to flip that over. So it becomes 400 times by, divided by fraction, flip it over, is going to be sine squared alpha over 2g cos squared alpha, like that. And then that there, I could say that that's going to be sine squared over cos squared, which is going to be tan squared. And then I've got 400 over 2g, which is just going to be 200 over G, isn't it? So it's going to be that in green is going to be a tan squared alpha like that. And then that's going to be 400 over 2G, which is just going to be 200 over G like that. Does that make sense, guys? We happy with that? Yeah. Yeah. And then I put that in there. G is 9.8, isn't it? So I can actually work out what that is. So put that in. Let me put that in actually and see what we get. So, because we're going to need it. 200 over 9.8 is what? 1000 over 49. Yeah. Okay. So that way it becomes 1000 over 49 tan squared alpha, which we can plug in there. So that way that becomes oh, and there's a half there as well. So it's just going to be 500, isn't it? Because I'm dividing by two. Hold on, let me just double check I've done. So I've just worked with that. Let me just write it nicely just so I know I don't make a mistake. 20 tan alpha, like that, minus a half times G, and then multiplied by, and then to be fair, because that's a G, that G will cancel, isn't it? So let me write it like this. This is 200 over G tan squared alpha. Yeah. 200 over G tan squared alpha, like that. If I write like that, the G's cancel nicely. 200 divided by 2 is 100. So the actual quadratic is going to be minus 1.25. It's going to equal 20 tan alpha. And then that is going to be minus 100 tan squared alpha, like that. Everybody happy with that? Do you guys agree? It's a bit lengthy. Let me just make sure I haven't made any mistakes on that. I think that's all good though. Um, Make sure. Yeah, that looks good. Perfect, perfect. Brilliant. Yeah, that's all good. So now I can move everything right to left. Yeah. So that means that the quadratic becomes 100 tan squared alpha minus 20 tan alpha minus 1.25 is equal to 0. And then I could figure out what alpha is from there. So plugging that in to the quadratic solver. Remember, I'm just the tan alpha is like x, isn't it? Right. So we'll plug that in there. It'll be that there. 2 polynomial 2. 100 minus 20 minus 1.25. Is everybody happy that this is a quadratic, by the way? Anybody want me to explain that part? Make sure. I'm just making sure I'm getting the right answers there. Yeah, good stuff. So one answer is going to be tan alpha is going to equal a quarter, like that. Or tan alpha is going to equal, what's the other root? Minus 1 over 20, like that. Now remember, alpha is what type of angle, guys? Yeah, it's acute, isn't it? Right? Alpha is an acute angle, right? So it's in what quadrant? Exactly, the first quadrant, right? So we're going to use this one because it's going to be positive. So we're going to disregard that. Yeah. So doing the tan inverse of that is going to give me tan inverse of a quarter is going to give me 14 degrees. Did it give us a degree of accuracy? No, it didn't. So just give it to three significant figures, which is going to be 14.0. Anybody get that correct? I'm not sure if I gave you enough time to actually do it, to be fair. But yeah, it's a lot of algebra. How do you guys are you guys happy with this? Anybody want me to go over any of that? Oh, right. But remember, when you're dealing with projectiles, you want it in degrees, don't you? Because you're doing the angle. Yeah. So with projectiles, degrees. Yeah. Is that the same as that? Did you do the tan inverse of a quarter and you got 0.245? Is it the same? Yeah. So you'd lose a mark then. Yeah. So just remember, put it in degrees. Yeah. Good stuff. So that's done. And then let's go to this one here. I think there was a bit more. So it says state one limitation of the model that could affect your answer to part B. So with this one, state one limitation, it's the same thing, right? Look at your question. Can somebody give me a limitation? Think about thing that they said, anything being modeled or anything like that. Have a read of the question. It's always going to be somewhere here. I can see this here. Exactly, Biana. That's always one of them. No air resistance. That's one. Ball is modeled as a particle, right? Any more? Spin of the ball. Exactly. Yeah. Let me actually show you a screenshot of actually the answers. Give me a second. This is what always comes up when you zoom out so you can see it. Um, here. See? Always one of these. Exactly. Yeah. Maybe 9.81 instead of 9.8. Yeah. A more accurate value of G. Exactly. Yeah. Good stuff. Perfect. All right. So we've done that. There's one more in this question actually. Part D. Find the time taken for the ball to travel from A to T. Now, let me put that there. So remember the time taken, we actually expressed algebraically. Do you guys remember this is actually the time? Do you guys agree? Yeah. So with that being said, well, we know what alpha is, right? So you can actually plug in alpha into there, but then you need U. Alpha's 14 degrees. Um, Also, U is the square root of U squared, and we know what U squared is. So you can do that. So you can do that there, and then you can plug that in because we know what let me square root this quickly. U is going to equal 2g root 2g, sorry, over sine alpha, right? And obviously it's positive because obviously the velocity is positive because going up. So that's fine. So we could plug that into there. We know what alpha is. We can actually just work this out from here, can't we? Because we can just plug in that there because we know what alpha is. Yeah. Yeah. So we could just say t then is equal to 20 over, and then it's going to be u, which is going to be root 2g over sine alpha, like that, times by cos alpha, like that. And then we know what alpha is. Obviously, g is that. You could plug that all in there. Or if you want to be nice, just algebraically, you could write this as root 2g cos alpha over sine alpha, like that. And then that is 20, oh, that's 20 times. That's going to be sine alpha over root 2g cos alpha, like that, isn't it? And then obviously that's sine over cos. That's 20 over root 2g times tan alpha. Does that make sense? And then we actually know what tan alpha is because if alpha was 14 degrees, where did we get the alpha from? It was when tan alpha is equal to a quarter. So you can actually just be really nice and just plug that in instead times a quarter. Does that make sense, guys? We happy with that? Yeah, good stuff. So I'll put that in and then see what we get. So that is just going to be 20 divided by 4 is 5. That's just 5 over root 2g, isn't it? So I'll plug that in and see what we get. 5 over root 2g, which is that there, which is 1.1 3. Or what was that rationalized? 5 root 10 over 14. That's it.